Hey everyone, my name is Matthew Bodie and today I'm going to be doing something that I've never seen on YouTube before and that I think there should really be more of, and that is a South African announcing their AncestryDNA results. I got my results back a few months ago, about probably 6 months ago now, when I was in America. At that stage the test wasn't available in Australia, so I had to do it while I was visiting distant family in America. And I got my results back about 4 weeks later. And for the most part it was expected, but there was a few surprises. So a bit of backstory about myself. I was born in South Africa, raised there until I was 12 years old, and then my family, immediate family, and I moved to Australia. I'm 19 years old now, so I've been in Australia for a while. And luckily it gave me the opportunity to do this test, and for that I'm pretty grateful, because they don't ship to South Africa, which I think they really should. Anyway, so without further ado, I'll give you my results, and I'll also print screen them and put them at the end of this video, and also my pedigree, because I have been doing genealogy for a while now, so I find that pretty cool. Anyway, so my results were... Just give me a second, it's loading. I am 95% European. Big surprise there. Of that, I'm 71% European, 12% Irish, 4% Eastern European, 3% Finnish, 2% British, 1% Iberian, which is Portugal and Spain, 1% Scandinavian, and 1% Greek and Italian. I also got a few things that were quite unexpected, and that was 2% Asian. And of that Asian, I was 1% Central Asian and 1% South Asian. I was also 1% Pacific Islander, which was Melanesia, more specifically. And something that came as quite a shock, but I'm really proud of now. Well, if I had known, I would have always been proud of it, but I am 2% African. Now, before I did this test, I'd always thought of myself as 100% European, because I'd never really explored my genealogy or my family history that much. But literally, I started I've been collecting documents and photos since I was about 9, but I started really researching a lot a few months before I did this DNA test. And literally, the day after I did this test, I found a document on a website called Family Search that said that my great-great-grandparents, my maternal great-grandmother's parents, were coloured. And that gave me an inkling as to which line I should explore further to find my African heritage. And lo and behold, my great-great-grandfather, who only died in 1976, he lived quite a long life, was the grandson of an African woman named Elsie Regina van Zyl and a British man from Northamptonshire named Samuel Wells Green. And they had quite a few children. Elsie sadly died at quite a young age, she was about 40, and Samuel remarried with another lady of English descent and had quite a few more children. So yeah, that was a big surprise to me, but now that I know it, I'm extremely proud of it, because I was born in South Africa, and it's just really nice to know that I have a blood connection to the continent that I was born on. Anyway, so trying to find further explanation for my Asian and Melanesian DNA, I explored my mom's line a lot further, and I found a slave called Ibor van Timor. And Timor is an island in the Melanesias, and she was shipped to South Africa as a slave. She married a local man, and obviously got baptized, because that's what happened in those days if you wanted to get married. and they had children, and there are probably a few thousand descendants of Ibor and her husband now. As well as that, the 2% Asian doesn't really come as a surprise, because if my great-great-grandparents were coloured, as their marriage certificate says, a lot of coloured South Africans, by the way, that isn't a derogatory term in South Africa, people use it to self-identify as mixed race. So a lot of coloured South Africans actually also have Indian ancestry and Malaysian ancestry. It's not uncommon at all. After doing this test, I also decided to look into South African genealogy as a whole a little bit more, and I found that a lot of South Africans actually do have, by South Africans I mean the particular group I'm referring to right now is European South Africans. A lot of them actually do have traces of African and Asian DNA, and that is from these slaves that were sent there a few hundred years ago when the colony was first getting started, and they obviously just intermingled with the Europeans, and it's history now. The rest is history. So for those of you who are interested, I also got my parents tested, so I will read their results as well. It's all on my One Ancestry account. So my dad is 99% European, which does not surprise me in the least. He was 67% Western European. By the way, when I read my results, I meant to say Western European, not just European. My first and foremost result was 71% Western European. My father's is 67% Western European, 15% Scandinavian, 9% Eastern European. Eastern European doesn't come as a complete shock because his great-grandmother was half Polish. Her father was born in Poland. My dad was also 3% Irish, 2% British, 2% Italian, and 1% Iberian. And that Italian and Iberian, although it's a small amount, it really doesn't come as a major shock, because my dad, even though he's very European, his father is a pure German and his mother was pure Brit. So I'd always wondered where the black hair came from, because on the most part I find Germans have quite fair hair, because my dad is black haired. Myself and my cousins on my paternal line are the first generation to not have black hair out of all of the Bodhi men. So that Italian and Iberian probably explains that. I would have to do a haplogroup test to find out where my father's father going back came from. That might explain it a bit more. But yeah, so the 1% non-European that he was Asian, and it says Asia Central. And when I told my dad that, he said that he doesn't find that as a complete shock, because Central Asia is near the Caucasus Mountains, which is where all the original Caucasians originate from, or a lot of them. So yeah, that wasn't extremely surprising. Anyway, I'll get on to my mom's results now, which I find really cool. I wish I had my mom's results. She is, I really need to get used to that, 5% African, first and foremost. Of that, she was 2% Southeastern Bantu, she was 1% hunter-gatherer, 1% Mali, and 1% Nigerian. She was also 7% Asian, and of that was 5% Central Asian and 2% South Asian. So this makes complete sense to me. Part of the African heritage got passed down to me, part of the Asian got passed down to me and my sister. So yeah, it kind of explains it. I'm really glad that I got my parents tested. My mother was also 88% European, and of that she was 60% Western European, 11% British, 7% Iberian, 6% Irish, 3% Finnish, 1% Scandinavian, and 1% Eastern European. And for those of you who have a bit of time on your hands, I'll read out my sister's results as well, because she is my only sibling. Thought I might do it to be nice. My sister was also 2% African, so that African is definitely there. It's not just noise in the DNA test. It's definitely there. And I have uploaded my DNA results to other websites like GEDmatch and Family Tree DNA, and both of them have confirmed that the African DNA is real, which I'm absolutely thrilled about. My sister was also 5% Asian, which is quite a bit more Asian than what I was. Of that, she's 3% South Asian and 2% Central Asian. She was also 91% European. Of that, she was 52% Western European, 19% Scandinavian, 8% Irish, 8% Iberian, 2% British, 2% Italian and Greek. She was also 2% West Asian, which is Caucasus, and that also doesn't come as a complete surprise. That's where all the original white people come from, as I said before. So that is really all I have to say for today. I will attach my pedigree to the end of this video so you guys can see, and I'll also put in the description of this video a link to my ancestry family tree, so that if those of you have a subscription, for those of you who have a subscription to Ancestry, you can go and view my tree, which I always find it interesting looking at other people's trees and comparing. You might even find we're related. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you are South African and you have done the AncestryDNA test, or any other DNA test for that matter, please do comment your results. I always am very interested to see what other people are. Other than that, I hope you have a great day, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.